we'll start with this script 1A in section 4. When I was building this, I saw, now what's a good example of doing this? And again, when you want to do something, learn something, you want some challenge, right? So I was reading this paper when around, when this was building this course. And this is a quite kind of interesting paper that came out, which basically did a survey, a community survey of how people use cloud platforms like Earth Engine. And we just show. So they ran a survey and then they published this paper with the result of the survey. So I was reading this paper and I was like, this has got some interesting charts about the survey results. So can we create a chart like this? Can I create a chart based on this data like this? I wanted, reproduce all these charts in Earth Engine. And again, you can see there are quite a bit of challenge because this is a bar chart. Each bar has a different color. It's got a label for the chart value. It also got this annotation here. And it looks like something that you cannot create out of the box from Earth Engine. It also had some of this column charts, like horizontal charts and so on. So again, this data for the paper is open. So they've shared the CSV file of the data with us. So I said, can we use DataTable format to create these charts in Earth Engine? Okay. So this is just to show you and help you understand the DataTable format. Most of you will not be putting your values by hand, right? In the next script, we'll show you that you'll run your code. At the end, you will format, you run some E functions to format your data. And then finally, you'll just say, send this data to DataTable. You don't have to input the values. I'm inputting the values just to show that how a DataTable format works. Okay. So let's do this. So here we want to create a DataTable. You can see this is how the format looks. We have some columns. I have the 2 columns here, language and response. So this was the question that they asked in the survey. What is your favorite programming language, or what's the most programming language you use? And there's something that people always debate in geospatial. So they said, they asked the question and people responded. So let's say 178 people said Python is a preferred language. 102 people said R is the preferred language, and so on. Right? So we have this data. I just took it from the Excel sheet that they shared from the paper and just inputted this. So we created a format like this. Now I want to create a chart from this data. So we have this function UI.chart. Right? This function says, give me a data table, a chart type, and the visualization options, and I'll create a chart for you. Right? So we'll have to create the data table ourselves. So we created the data table, and we say, create a chart as a column chart and print it. So let's see. Okay, so this is what comes out as the default, and I pop it out. You can see this is what the chart looks like. You have the kind of default Earth Engine style, and we say these are the Python, R, and so on. So this is what we could create. So that means now if you have some data in Excel or just want to create a chart from whatever numbers you have, you can create a data table like this and use this. But now this chart doesn't look like what we have, but let's learn more about what we can do with the data table format. Okay, so let's add one more column. So I'm going to add one more column. Let's say I want to add one more column where I want to annotate. I want to display the percentage in each bar. So I'll just say my column name is percentage, label, and the type of this will be number, but the role of this will be annotation. So don't consider it as data. This will be used, whatever text I give will be used for annotation. So let's see, I want to add one more value. So I'll say B is 77.1. So this is a percentage value that I computed. Again, I did this using a calculator. In Earth Engine code, we'll just use Earth Engine to do this. Right now, I'm just showing you how you can use the format. Okay. Let's run this. You can see I have 77.1 in my chart because you can see we gave the value here. So now we can give whatever value we give, and chart will be annotated using that. We can give more values and you'll be adding that. So now you can see I've annotated this with the value of that. So now this kind of annotation is not possible using any of your built-in charting functions. So if somebody said, I want to display some text on my bar chart, well, Google Charts support it, but you have to go via the data table route. We have some annotation properties. So let me show you. If I want to control how the annotations look, we can give some options. So these are the options, the same kind of options that we will be specifying, but we can set it, give it as a third parameter here. So now this one shows this annotation as a box because we gave this parameter here. Text style is box with this outline and this width, right? So you can see this looks very close to what the chart in the papers look like. And we have this nice box set annotations, etc. And you can control the color, text style, and what that. I can use another column. So I'm going to add one more column where I want to customize the color of each bar. I want to display each bar in the different. So I'll add a style column. And the role of this will be style. Okay, so these roles are defined in the documentation of what are the different roles. So now let's define a color. Similar to previous one, there's a default color. You can override it in using this value. So my fourth column value is this color value. So you can see my color has been changed to this. And I can give a different color for each of my rows. And that column will be in that color. Yeah. So let's look at the final data table. So I have the values, percentage values, as well as colors for each of this. And you can see this is my final chart here. It looks pretty nice, something that you probably did not think that you can get out of Earth Engine. But now Earth Engine can use all these advanced functions and can render the chart like this. The advantage of using this is that right now we hard-coded this data, but in the next script, we'll see we can start with an image collection and feature collection, write some MapReduce functions, and create this data directly in code. That means you can get a chart like this directly out of Earth Engine without kind of doing this. So if you're building apps or building, doing some analysis in Earth Engine, you can now use your code and generate an output, which is directing this data table. So essentially, we are doing a little bit more work instead of using the built-in functions, but now we have more control on exactly how charts are rendered.